Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I'm Ryan Bolin. Thank you all for joining me once again. So, female basketball player Brittney Griner made the statement that it should be a crime for anyone or any type of legislation to be created that would prevent biological males from competing against biological females. This is what she said, okay? Now, I'm going to get right into this article. And I want to read you her words. I'm going to read you some tweets that some others had to say about her statement. And I'm going to give you my commentary on what I think the bigger picture really is all about. Because the question inevitably should rise in anyone's minds is, where are the feminists in a situation like this? Where are the feminists? Aren't the feminists all supposed to be all about equal rights for women? But you don't see them in a situation like this, right? Okay, I'm going to end up repeating what I said in the video I made a year ago. Let's get right into this. So the article starts off, Phoenix Mercury player Brittney Griner spoke to the media as the WNBA prepares to kick off its 2023 season, and at one point in the discussion insisted that it is, quote, a crime to prevent biological men who claim to be transgender women from playing against natural-born women. Griner, who was more famous for having been arrested in a prison in Russia on drug charges than playing basketball, was asked about the various states that have been moving to outlaw men playing sports as women. For one, to do so anyway, I'm pretty sure that would affect the bottom line, the finances, because no biological man is going to want to go to a game where one of the players is a biological male acting like a female. And most men are the ones that go to the sports anyway, right? So most of them are men anyway, right? So it's going to affect the bottom line. But the elites don't care about that. Let's go on. There are a number of states that are moving to aggressively prevent transgender athletes playing. Where is that going to rank on your radar when it comes to advocating for transgender athletes being able to play? The reporter asked Griner. Griner has been very open for her support on the radical gay agenda, and it appears she is also all in for transgenderism, which I don't have a problem with transgenderism in and of itself. I disagree with it. I think it's loony. I think something's wrong with the person psychologically. But if that's their choice, that's your choice. I don't have a problem with that. Is when you do dumb things like this is where people start speaking out of. This is America. She says, that ranks high on the list of things I'll be fighting for and speaking up against, the ex-convict said. Everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here and sit in these seats and feel safe and not feel that there's a threat and that they can't be who they are. I have no problem with that, Brittney. Nobody does. But stop playing games. Stop playing games. You're being silly right now, right? It's not even worth debating with you on this. But anyway, but she went on with a more pointed accusation. Honestly, I think it's a crime to separate someone for any reason against that legislation is trying to be passed. I don't know how that sounds. Unsurprisingly, Twitter users have thoughts. And here's some of the thoughts that these Twitter users had. So like, for example, this is from Jeanette. And it says, someone needs to post this on his locker and tell him that we know. And it says, women's sports is not a retirement plan for a failed male. There's a big poster saying it. That's funny. Here's another person from Jimmy 6271. It says, they ask the question, why can't transgenders have their own categories in sports? Right. Well, why can't, the people create their own categories? No big deal, because then they would compete against men again, and they already have and failed there. That's the answer right there. But also, if you think about it, if transgenders create a category for, if there's a category created for transgenders to compete against other transgenders, they're not going to make a lot of money. The only people that's going to watch them is what? Transgenders. And what is the percentage of transgenders in America? There's over 360 million people in this country, I believe. that's like 1%, you're not going to make much money off of that. The idea is to transform everybody else or force everybody else to give in to the agenda. That's the idea. At least that's one aspect of it. Money. That's another issue. But anyway, let's move on. Nobody wants to see that. Here's from TJ Moe. Brittney Griner has basketball career because she's taller than other women. That's it. If athletic men were allowed to play with her, she would be bagging groceries somewhere. She's so obsessed with the woke stuff, she's sacrificing the future of women's sports. I agree. And this is someone from Richard Whitman. This is a Twitter from Richard Whitman. He says, so college players who don't get drafted to the NBA can, quote, transition and go to the WNBA. And here's from John, prosthetics. Her interpretation of what is and what isn't a crime based on her history is likely incorrect. Do not hire her as a legal consultant. Throw the ball through the hoop. Good job. Crazy, man. And that's the end of that article. But yeah, she's talking about this should be a crime. And really, she's giving her opinion on that. And you have a right to that opinion. She has a right to her opinion, whatever, you know. If that's what you think that it should be a crime for any type of legislation to be pushed that would prevent biological men who want to be women from competing against biological females, you have a right to express your opinion, right? You have that right. But here's the thing. People with that type of status has a lot of influence in the things that they say. Now, I will say this. Because look, I don't watch women's sports. I mean, I don't watch women's basketball. I don't watch males basketball that much, really, honestly. I'm not really into sports. Modern day sports, I'm not really into. When I get into sports, when I want to watch some kind of sports, I'll type in the YouTube search box something from the 70s and 80s and maybe the 90s, boxers, and maybe some, highlights of football way back in the days. But now I don't bother. Okay, so anyway, that being the case, with her, here's the deal. The deal is even though she's a celebrity and has some influence, she doesn't have much influence. The bigger picture here, and I don't know if the elites are paying her to say this or what. I honestly believe that a lot of these radical leftists are being paid and controlled and manipulated to say this type of stuff and support this stuff because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for a biological male, regardless of what he feels about himself, okay? It doesn't make sense for a biological male to compete against biological women. Most of the time, I'd say 90-something% of the time, they're going to win against biological females because they are structured differently. They're physically stronger naturally. Yes, they may be taking these hormone pills and all this kind of stuff to transition to a female. I get that. But in the meantime, while they're on their way to that transitioning period, they're going to be beating these women, okay? And they have been. So what's going on? Why such a push for something that makes totally no sense, that most people in this country got sense enough to know that is totally wrong. It makes no sense. It's stupid. Period. Bottom line. Why would they be pushing that? And I believe, I'm going to repeat what I said in the video made, like I said, about a year ago. Where are the feminists? Where's the feminist groups? And it's incidents like this where you have biological men trying to compete against biological females. Because it's not about equal rights for women. Radical feminism is not about equal rights for women. That's not what it is. The radical feminists that supporting this, they're nothing but useful idiots. Anyway, they think they're supporting some great cause, but they're nothing but useful idiots. The people that's controlling these radical feminists is going around hooping and hollering about bringing rights, this, that, the other. You're nothing but a tool that's being controlled by men. You hate men, but you controlled by the... They hate men, but they're controlled by men. These radical feminists, female feminists, have no power or authority. They're controlled and manipulated by the people at the top of the pyramid, which are men. But the question is, where are they? Where are the feminists? And I'll tell you where they are. They're watching and they're listening, but they're not saying anything. They're not protesting. They're not speaking out against this whole idea. And forget about this whole idea of Brittney talking about it should be a crime. I'm not going to even talk about that because that's stupid. I'm going to talk about the bigger picture. They're not saying anything is because men that want to transition to a female is exactly what radical feminists want. Radical feminists believe that men are the oppressors and that they create an atmosphere or a matrix that is designed to oppress women. They believe that marriage should be destroyed because they believe it's an institution that was created by men who are the oppressors, and the oppressed are the women. Therefore, it needs to be destroyed. And the image of the man needs to be destroyed. And whatever way that you can destroy the image of the man, do so. Emasculate him. Okay? Take away his pride. Take away his strength. Take away his dignity. Because by doing so, he's going to no longer desire to be anything that is conducive to being an actual man in a traditional sense. That's the whole purpose. So when these men who want to transition into women and want to compete with women, biological women, they're not going to say anything about it because these men, biological men, are doing exactly what radical feminists want them to do. Radical feminists are licking their chops. They're not going to say anything against this. They're not going to speak out against it. That's not the goal. That's not the agenda. The agenda is to destroy the image of the man. Now, whether Brittney Griner or whatever is a part of that, I don't know. But like I said, I will say this. I believe right now she's a useful idiot, like a lot of these so-called radical feminists are. At the top of the pyramid, it's controlled by men. But in the radical feminist mind, we hate men. They are oppressors. Now, oppressor, you believe that you oppressed by men, but yet the men still controlling your movement and financing your movement. Oh, my God. It's men that's giving money to your movement. That's because they've been blinded from the bigger picture. Their information is compartmentalized. They don't understand the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to completely eradicate the male. Get the male to the point where he doesn't desire to be with women, and that thus in design keeps men from being with women and thus keeps the population down. Can we say population control? It's a bigger picture here, bigger agenda. It's easier to control the people to control the people in the New World Order and the one world government when you have less of them. Okay? And the radical feminists upon whom Brittney Griner is probably an unknowing supporter of, are nothing but useful idiots for that agenda. You're not going to see any radical feminists. You're not going to see them speaking out against this. And that's the reason I believe why they're not doing it. They're not going to do anything like that. That was never the goal of radical feminists. That was never the goal. The goal was and is to destroy men. And you're going to see that in the movies, music, TV shows, sitcoms. That's what you see. And you see these super women flying all over the place and beating up men that weigh 850,000 pounds and all this kind of stuff. That's a bunch of nonsense designed to get into the subconscious of the viewing public in order to convince them that, hey, women are superior to men and men are nothing. Neither one of us are superior to none of us are superior in essence. We may be superior in function. And let me end the video on this. Men are superior to women in physical strength, but women are superior to men in having babies. Simple. Superior means being able to, we're not equal. We're not the same. Equal means the same. Men and women are not equal. We're equal only in the fact that we have a mind, which is our intellect. Okay. We have emotions, which is our feelings, and we have will, which is our ability to choose. Men and women are equal in the sense that they have those three aspects, but we're not equal when it comes to functionability. We are not the same. Women cannot naturally, for the most part, do the same thing that men can do physically and vice versa. All this is a plan to completely flip God's created order on its head for the bigger agenda. Confusion is the objective. And the Bible says, let me put the Bible in there, God is not the author of confusion. So what does that tell you? Who's creating all this confusion? And when you have regular people that's confused and don't know which way is which, I don't know what a female is, I don't know what a male is, then we are in deep trouble, because I hear that. I hear stupid stuff like that. We are in trouble. But not with my videos. Sooner or later, they're going to take me down. But they haven't taken me down because I don't have that kind of influence. I don't have that kind of clout. What, a little over 500 subscribers? Are you kidding? But I'm going to keep saying it. I'm going to keep talking about this type of stuff as God give me the ability to, until it's time for them to take me down. When they do, okay, whatever. I'll talk about it in my church. What you going to do about it then? I'm going to still tell the truth. But that's what I believe about it. It ain't about it being a crime and all that. That's stupid what she said. It's a bigger picture, and she's a useful idiot used by the very people that's trying to used by the very people that are males that's trying to push this global. That's all she is. She's a useful idiot. What do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.